and welcome to Byzantine Iconography Tutorial Series 7, in which we'll be studying some additional figures, starting off with the crucifixion. On a historical note, there were no images of the crucifixion, that is of Christ on the cross, for the first 4 centuries of Christianity, most likely due to the persecution of the Christian Church. Images of the crucifixion did exist during this time, but they were usually expressing mockery and revulsion. It is only from the 430s that we start having images of the crucifixion that reflect the definition of the Fourth Ecumenical Council of Chalcedon in 451 AD, that states that Christ is perfect God and perfect man, one person with 2 natures. The early crucifixion images depict Christ alive on the cross and in a straight upright position. In the earliest images, he is nearly naked with nails in his hands and feet. In images from the 6th century, he is depicted fully dressed wearing a colobium, a sleeveless robe. It is from around the 12th century that the crucifixion starts taking on the form that we are familiar with today, with Christ depicted dead on the cross. The Byzantines gave his body a sense of movement and rhythm by drawing it on an S-curve. The figure of Christ pervades a sense of calm. His eyes are closed and his head is bowed. The inscription reads, "The King of Glory," reflecting the words of the hymn of Holy Friday. "Today he who hung the earth upon the waters is hung upon the tree. The King of the angels is decked with a crown of thorns. He who wraps the heavens in clouds is wrapped in the purple of mockery. He who freed Adam in the Jordan is slapped in the face. The bridegroom of the church is affixed to the cross with nails. The Son of the Virgin is pierced by a spear. We worship thy passion, O Christ. We worship thy passion, O Christ. We worship thy passion, O Christ. Show us also thy glorious resurrection." The Orthodox icon of the crucifixion doesn't try to manipulate the viewer's emotions and doesn't dwell on the physical aspects of the crucifixion. As St. Leo the Great states, "Let the eyes of your mind not dwell only on that sight which those wicked sinners saw, but let our understanding, illumined by the Spirit of truth, foster with pure and free heart the glory of the cross which irradiates heaven and earth, and see with the inner sight what the Lord meant when he spoke of his coming passion. The hour is come that the Son of Man may be glorified." This is in stark contrast with Western images of the crucifixion, like the depiction by Matthias Grunewald that depicts all the horror and agony of the crucifixion. We can see some Western influence in the post-Byzantine icons, particularly the Cretan school, where the figure of Christ is posed more dramatically and there is a lot more blood flowing from his wounds. The figure is quite simple to draw, and as I mentioned before, it is drawn on an S-curve. Unfortunately, due to space restrictions, I will have to draw it on A4 paper, so I will only draw the figure without the cross so that it's not too small. So of course we're going to start off with our axis line. And then we're going to draw a horizontal line where the bar of the cross will be. Then we draw a line for the angle of the head and draw in the basic structure. His shoulders are raised because his arms are lifted up, so I'm marking them roughly halfway up the oval for the face. I mark out the length of the body, taking into account the raised shoulders. And now I draw in the S-curve. Here I mark the narrow side of the body, which tapers towards the feet following the S-curve. The broad side follows the curve until about halfway between the waist and the pelvis, where it bulges out to the hip. As you can see, the feet are placed transversely. Now I'm joined roughly where the garment will fall. And I fill in the placement for the arms. And then I adjust the lines of the figure a bit before I start drawing it in properly. This figure is basically the figure that we learnt in Series 4 Tutorial 1, and very similar to the figure of the burial of Christ in Series 6. Note that this line follows the curve, but it is divided into 3 parts. The legs are almost identical to the burial of Christ, except that they're upright. And now we'll draw the garment. We'll create the folds for the cloth wrapping around his waist. And then we'll create some drop folds for the cloth that is hanging down. And some hanging folds. Now let's draw the hands, which as you can see are placed at an angle, creating a transverse relationship with the thumb. And then we'll draw the face. The inscription "The King of Glory" or Vasilevsky's Dogsiv that is on the crossbar can be abbreviated in different ways, and this is one way of abbreviating it. The icon includes the abbreviation of Jesus Christ, Jesus Christos, but not or on the being in the halo because he's dead. And there we have the crucifixion of Christ. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. Till next time, keep drawing.